I just don't care if you like Trump, if you don't like Trump. I really don't care if you voted for him or not at this point. Even if you favor another candidate in the primary, I don't care. None of that matters right now. This is the battle now. The primary is like a year away. But if you and we don't stand up for him on this, imagine what emboldened Letitia James and her ilk are going to do to you and I, who don't have billions of dollars to defend ourselves. Well, joining me now is someone who has been taking enormous arrows for us, along with his father, EVP of the Trump Organization, Eric Trump. Appreciate you coming in, Eric.
It's good to be with you.
Yeah. So, needless to say, you had an interesting day.
Very interesting day. It's always interesting with Letitia. I mean, listen, you said it best in the videos. Let her own words speak for her. She campaigned on the promise to go after my father. Her exact words: I'm going to go into the office of Attorney General every single day. I'm going to sue the hell out of him, and then I'm going to go home. I mean, this is what one of the top law enforcement officials in New York is worried about as children are getting shot in the face. And in Times Square, you saw that happen to a little girl. As horrible as it is, people are getting thrown in front of subway cars. Crime is absolutely rampant. You can't go into a Dwayne Reed and buy anything because there's so much looting that everything's now locked up. People are moving out of New York State in record numbers, and it's absolutely insane. But they want to punish their political rivals. They want to have them spend a lot of their own money, clearly. They think they can try and break somebody, and I can promise you Letitia James isn't going to break Donald Trump. You know, they want to distract them from not being able to do the job. And it's actually backfiring because all of America sees exactly what's happening. Carl, I can't tell you how much money the campaign's raised. I mean, people are furious. And by the way, so many of the people who are actually donating right now are people who have never donated to either campaign before, which is amazing. About 30% have never donated to either the Republicans or the Democrats before. They've weaponized the entire system. Alvin Bragg is being funded by George Soros, and he's doing his dirty, bidding for him. Letitia James is doing it on the civil side. They couldn't get my father with impeachment 1. They couldn't get him with impeachment 2. They couldn't mess with his Supreme Court justices. They couldn't get him on Ukraine. So guess what they do? They try and go after him civilly and criminally in a different state because they couldn't get him through the executive branch. And literally that's where our government is right now. I mean, this is the way politics works in this country now. I legitimately think they would be impressing Putin by these tactics.
Yeah, it actually is unbelievable to me. But all right, let's put you in a living room with average American, okay? And they say, look, I like the policies, I like the economy, I like all this stuff. I just don't like all this other noise with the investigations. What do you say to the small town business owner who may be supporting your dad, maybe another candidate? What do you say to them?
Donald Trump wouldn't have stood a chance if he wasn't a fighter, right? And you couldn't have taken that left hook out of Tyson. You kind of can't take that out of Trump. Trump wouldn't have survived 2 days in Washington, D.C. if he wasn't a fighter, if he wasn't willing to stand up to the bullies and frankly punch back. And you've seen that with Jeb Bush, right? Did Jeb Bush ever throw a punch? No. And guess what?
He put an exclamation point behind his name.
They owned him. They owned him. They owned his party. I mean, he wouldn't have lasted an hour under the fire that my father was under. And frankly, none of the candidates that are running right now would last an hour in this. Believe me, if my father wasn't there, they'd be doing it to whoever was next in line. The difference is my father's a great fighter. And he's got the financial means that he can actually beat these people back, whereas, frankly, the other people would have folded, caved, and frankly done whatever they wanted. And you see that time and time again in Washington, D.C. People go in like tough guys and, I'm going to make a great difference. And then they break them. They break them moment one, and they could never break Donald Trump. And frankly, it's why they're mad. The other reason they're mad is he's leading the Republican field by 35 points, right? And no one else is even there to touch him. So they're doing the bidding of their guy in office who will likely be running against him. They're trying to disqualify him so Joe doesn't have to run against him.
Yeah, that is crazy. And you talk about the financial resources. You look at people like Michael Flynn, who no doubt was a fighter. I mean, 3-star general. He was a great guy. He had to plead out because he didn't have the resources. Right. You can answer or not answer this, but how much would you say that you guys have spent to defend yourselves against nothing that they've gotten to stick?
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Oh. And Carl, I'm telling you, he would do it over again in a heartbeat. He doesn't care. It's one of the things I admire most about him. Last week, when he got dragged into New York for doing absolutely nothing wrong by another insane district attorney who's, he's getting absolutely hammered by his antics, and everybody's seeing exactly what it is. But the guy's like a normal guy. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's not broken by it. It would have broken anybody else. He understands it for the awful game that it is, and it's frankly why he's doing this. I mean, first of all, he's never going to let these people win. But he also realizes that the system has to be corrected because you said it great in the monologue. If they can do it to Donald Trump, believe me, the ordinary person that doesn't have those resources, that doesn't have that media platform, that can't go on a show every single night, that doesn't have a family out there fighting, doing what I'm frankly doing right now, they don't stand a chance by these weaponized, politically motivated prosecutors. And you're seeing every single system in this country being weaponized, right? The military is weaponized. You see Milley out there saying, yes, I want to rename every single military base. I want to rename Bragg and all these. You see, healthcare being weaponized. Look what they did during COVID. Look at education, higher education, lower education, colleges. Look at textbooks. Look at the FBI and the DOJ, right? They're all being weaponized. Local prosecutors, AGs, Georgia. Look, they're going after my father in Georgia. They're going after him in New York. DAs, AGs, they're all being weaponized. Every system in this country that matters is being weaponized by the Democratic Party, and we better beat it back. Otherwise, we're going to have real problems in this country. They've wanted to own every single one of those systems. They wanted to own the schools. They wanted to own the universities. They wanted to own the media. You post an article that somebody doesn't like at Instagram, they turn down the dials, or they throw you off.
They block it out.
They do.
Yeah.
Right? They want to own every single system, and somebody's got to beat that back. And I think America is becoming very, very wise to exactly what's happening.
I want a fighter. All right, Eric. Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Carl.
Appreciate you seeing your way through all this stuff. I'm sorry you've spent that much money.
We'll never stop fighting. We'll never stop fighting.